The Nintendo Switch. The great console you shouldn't buy. Now, that might be a confusing statement. Let me explain. If you already own a Nintendo Switch, don't worry. There isn't much you should be afraid of. We'll get to that in a minute. If you don't own a Nintendo Switch, and you want a Nintendo Switch, and you plan on getting a Nintendo Switch, don't. Now, just to clarify, I love my Nintendo Switch. I do not regret buying it at all. I've had many good times on it, and I will continue to have good times on it because Smash Bros. And Pokemon is right around the corner. So you might be wondering, well, that's great, why shouldn't I buy one? Well, it's really one simple reason. You can buy one if you want to. Alright, I'm not trying to tell you... I'm not trying to control what you do with your money. If you want to go buy one, okay? I'm not trying to shit on Nintendo. I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy. So, you know, I have my reasons for saying this, and my reasons are quite simple. The Nintendo Switch, as much as I love it, as much as I absolutely love this beautiful, beautiful console, it has its problems. Now, these are problems that Nintendo is well aware of, and I suspect that a hardware revision will be coming soon. Now, that means, yes, we're going to get a new iteration of the Switch. I'm sure it's going to happen. I'm very confident it's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen relatively soon. Now, for everybody who already has a Switch like I do, I'm just going to go ahead and put this guy in here so I don't have to keep holding it. For everybody who has one already, don't worry, because I don't think that the new version of the Switch is going to have any graphical advantage or performance advantage over the current version. I think they're both going to play games exactly the same and offer the exact same features. But I believe the new hardware revision is going to address the problems that this current model has. Now, let me go over those problems. First of all, the dock. I'm not even talking third-party docks, because there's a huge thing with third-party docks. Don't use them. You will break your Switch. But the official dock, as you guys should know if you've watched my channel, has had some problems recently. It sometimes just refuses to work. And that is a legitimate problem. Not to mention, the dock can scratch your screen. In fact, fuck that. It will scratch your screen. It doesn't matter how careful you are, it will scratch your screen. Now, if you're not worried about scratches on the screen, that's fine. You know, that's not a big deal, because the dock really is only going to scratch the bezel of the screen, unless you're really just being careless with it. So, if you're not worried about scratches, that's not a big deal. But the dock sometimes just refuses to work, and I've done, you know, videos on how to fix that, and those videos, those methods sometimes work. I don't have a foolproof way of fixing that, so I'm sure that is one of the problems that will be addressed in the hardware revision. The second problem, which isn't as big of a deal, but could still be a huge, huge disappointment for a lot of people. This is actually a problem that I have not had with mine, thankfully. But a lot of people have realized that their switches are cracking, where the molding here right? They'll get cracks down the side or around the screw posts. And these little fins up top for the vent here will actually crack and break off. Now, thankfully, this isn't a problem I've had with mine, but there have been many people recently who have been reporting this problem. Finally, the Switch runs very hot while running certain games. Not hot to the point that it would break the actual Switch, because there's a safety, an automatic safety where if it gets too hot, it turns it off to prevent from breaking any of the internals. However, this heat has been suspected to be causing the cracks in the molding, and also has been found to warp the dock, causing you to be even more likely to scratch your screen, and in some cases, which this is actually something that's happened to my Switch, it will actually bend the Switch itself. Now, this doesn't affect the actual performance of the Switch. As you can see, my Switch works perfectly fine. In fact, we did a live stream with it earlier today. But if you look very closely, I don't even know if it'll show up on camera. There is an ever so slight bend right here where it's not perfectly straight. There's a little bit of a bend there, and that is from the heat of the the heat pipes that are under here that are causing that to warp. So that is a problem. It doesn't affect the functionality at all. It's still perfectly usable. It's got that little bit of a bend, and that might annoy some people. Personally, me, so long as it works, I don't care. If it works and I can use it, I don't mind. But for some people, that might be like a huge, huge turnoff to potentially buying one. So that being said, those are the problems as of right now that we know of with the Switch, the current iteration. And I believe that a hardware revision will be coming relatively soon that will address all of these problems. So if you want a Switch and you don't already have one and you plan on buying one, my recommendation to you is to wait until the hardware revision comes out that solves all of the problems that the current one has. Now, you don't have to do that. You can go out and buy one of the ones like I have here. And like I said, other than the dock sometimes not working, which I've been able to fix in my instance, I've had no problems with it. I absolutely love the thing. I don't regret buying it at all. But if you're going to go out and buy one now, like as of today or whenever you're watching this, just keep in mind that you are buying something that will have some level of problems with it in the near future. Now, depending on how severe these problems are, it depends, because mine doesn't have any cracking on it. It does have the bend in it, but no cracking. My dock has acted up on me sometimes, but I've been able to fix it. Some people weren't able to fix theirs and had to buy new ones, which are very expensive, by the way. So the level of problems you may have with your Switch will vary from one Switch to another, but you're pretty much guaranteed to get at least one of these common problems. So keep in mind, if you go out to buy one now, you're likely to run into one of these problems. So I'm just warning you guys personally. If I didn't already have one and I wanted one, I would wait for the hardware revision. However, I know with Smash and Pokemon right around the corner, a lot of people who don't already have a Switch are probably going to run out and get one so they can play the new Pokemon game or the new Smash game. I have actually already pre-ordered both games, so I'm looking forward to those. But yeah, so this wasn't a video to shit on Nintendo or to tell people, the Switch sucks, don't buy it. That's not what I'm saying. The Switch is a great console. It's a revolutionary console, and anytime you try something new, you're gonna have, unless you somehow do it absolutely perfectly. Anytime you're gonna try something this revolutionary, you're sure to run into a few problems here and there. Now, Nintendo, like I've said, they're well aware of the problems the Switch has. They know that these problems exist, and they know how common they are. So I suspect Nintendo will be making a hardware revision that will address these problems. When that will be, I don't know. I assume it's going to be sometime within the next year, maybe 2 years. But there will be another one, and if you want one, and you plan on getting one, if you can, I would recommend waiting until the hardware revision. Otherwise, you do you, go out and buy one. Just be aware that if you do, you're probably going to run into some problems. So, that being said, I'm not shitting on Nintendo. I absolutely love the Switch. I have no regrets buying mine. Um, but I just wanted to make this video as kind of like for people who are looking to get a Switch, who haven't gotten one yet, but are planning on getting one, because, people need to be more aware of the problems that the Switch or has, rather. If you're planning on buying one, it's important information that you should know. Um, because the worst thing you could possibly do is to go out and buy one and be like, oh, I got my Switch, it's great, and then like 2 days later they come out with the Switch 2.0 that fixes all the you know what I mean? So I just want to let people know my opinions on this matter. I don't regret buying mine. I love it. I'm gonna play this thing until it just doesn't work anymore, which so far I've had, as far as functionality, I haven't had any problems with mine, the console itself. So, that being said, I'm going to play this thing for as long as I possibly can, because I love this console. And if it ever does break, I'll probably just save up and buy another one, because that's just how much I love this console. Um, so yeah, it has nothing to do with like, oh, I'm saying the Switch sucks, you shouldn't get it because it can't run at 4K. It's not realistic to expect that of something like this. So that being said, if you're gonna buy one, just keep these thoughts in mind. All right, that's the whole point of this video. So, thank all you guys for watching, and I'll see all you guys next time. Goodbye, guys.